The news, good evening. The Truth Commission has resumed its public hearings following weeks of lockdown with a seventh commissioner on the panel. Eileen Moses says she's been working through a huge volume of evidence already heard over the first 7 months. Proceedings began with the Commission issuing a stern warning to those guilty of past wrongdoings who've not yet come forward.
A new two-tier panel comprising 7 commissioners began taking evidence this morning. But fresh-face Eileen Moses has already been hard at work since early last month, studying mountains of previous testimony to prepare for the weighty task facing her.
It's not only about rewriting history, but telling people, gathering evidence and telling people what exactly happened. And out of that, find out the truth and also try to reconcile the nation.
The formal proceedings began today. There were stern words for reluctant wrongdoers of the past from the Commission chairperson.
The Commission considers it important to acknowledge the visible failure on the part of those accused of perpetrating human rights abuses to accept responsibility for their participation in those violations.
This Commission has received a lot of evidence. Not all of it is in the public domain. We know who are the main players, who are the main perpetrators. We think it's important that people understand why they did what they did.
This morning's first witness, former State House aide Rolly Marie, was giving evidence in the case of a former policeman, Bernard Racambeau, who'd refused to promote Albert René's revolutionary doctrine.
Yes, madam. He was an interest to us. So we tried to convince him, instead of going to prison, why don't you work with us, you'll have a job, and la. And that's the business. I'm sorry.
It was a one-party system, right? So you wanted people to work with you, not work against you.
That's right, madam.
Health screening for people arriving at the Commission and social distancing measures have been imposed, further squeezing limited floor space. Meanwhile, to recover time lost to lockdown, hearing sessions will now be extended from 2 weeks to 3.
A team of 5 young volunteers have officially received the letter of acceptance to form part of the Blue Economy Youth Advocacy Group. It was Vice President Vincent Meriton, in his capacity as the Minister for the Blue Economy, who presented the documents to them during a ceremony at State House this morning. Vice President Meriton said the creation of the group is in response to a commitment made to the African Union, whereby young people will be ambassadors of the blue economy concept. The youths chosen to be part of the group are between 18 and 25 years old. During the next 3 years, they will be trained for ocean governance so that they can spread awareness and understanding of the blue economy, its benefits to everyday life, to the general public, as well as the other government entities.
Nothing can stop an idea whose time has come. And the time is now. And I think this is what we need to do. There are many youth organizations working with the government in advancing and promoting the blue economy. You are one of them. You take it to the next level, to a qualitatively higher level, where you will be part of the governance system of the blue economy. So I think your presence here demonstrates the willingness of the youth to be able to take an idea and bring it to fruition, and ensure that not only 5 of you, but all of the youth population embraces it, understands it, and then runs away with it.
And Seychelles is today joining the rest of the continent to proudly celebrate Africa Day. In a message for the occasion, the Vice President, Mr. Meriton, says that as we celebrate the day, we do so by contemplating on our own African origins. He says the day is an occasion for us to celebrate our African identity and heritage, and for us to take pride in who we are as a people. The theme for this year's Africa Day is Silencing the Guns, Creating Conducive Conditions for Africa's Development. He says it is a well-chosen theme which signifies our hope for peace, prosperity, and solidarity for the whole of Africa. President Danny Faure has brought his support to the people whose dwellings were destroyed by a fire in their building complex at Grand Anse Praslin on Saturday. Altogether, 16 families have been affected, including 25 adults and 9 children. Arrangements have been made for them to be temporarily housed in guest houses. The president visited them this afternoon, and he was accompanied by the principal secretary for presidential affairs, Doreen Arnfi, and the minister for family affairs, Mitzi Larue.
The government has a structure in place, and the structure started the work since Saturday when the fire broke in the house. We started, the structure were put in place, we were dealing with everything, and they were put into accommodation, temporary accommodation, given food, etc. And now we continue with the structure. We have the Ministry of Family Affairs, who will be working with local government, Ministry of Health, to ensure that, for example, the profiling is done by the DA of each victim. Then we are going to pay the victims depending on the number of people in the household. They have, some are couples, some have children, some are single, so it will all depend. And after that, definitely we will be working on the way forward, where to get them a house, temporary one, but a rented one if possible. Work with the guest house, the private guest house, and see how they can help, but of course government will pay. So definitely we will be bringing also the psychosocial support to the families, because they are very traumatized.
And that's it for this news summary. Thanks for watching.